In the shadows of eastern Washington, a mystery that was supposed to stay buried has clawed its way back to the surface. After nearly 2 decades of silence, new evidence about Mel's Hole has emerged, and what it reveals is more terrifying than anyone could have imagined. The final transmission, what they don't want you to know. In 2024, a former military contractor came forward with documents that could finally explain what the government found when they sealed off Mel Waters' property back in 1997. These weren't just any documents. They were classified reports, surveillance logs, and something even more disturbing, transcripts of radio communications from inside the hole itself. The contractor, who we'll call David to protect his identity, had worked on a classified project in eastern Washington during the late 1990s. He was part of a team tasked with what his superiors called geological anomaly containment. But what David witnessed during those months would haunt him for the rest of his life. Join us as we uncover the final chapter of Mel's Hole, the secrets the government tried to bury, and the reason why Mel Waters disappeared without a trace. Chapter 1. The military's dark discovery, what they found when they went down. When the military took over Mel's property in February 1997, they didn't just block off the area and walk away. According to David's testimony, within 48 hours of securing the perimeter, a specialized team arrived from an undisclosed location. These weren't ordinary soldiers. They wore no identifying patches, no name tags, nothing that could trace them back to any official military branch. The team brought equipment that David had never seen before. Massive drilling rigs, specialized cameras that could withstand extreme temperatures and pressure, and something called a quantum field stabilizer, which David was told would prevent dimensional bleeding. Those words alone should send chills down your spine. The first thing they did was lower a probe equipped with multiple sensors. The data that came back was impossible. The hole's temperature fluctuated wildly, going from near freezing to over 400 degrees Fahrenheit within the span of just 100 feet. The atmospheric composition changed too, with oxygen levels dropping to nearly zero in some sections, then spiking to dangerous levels in others. But the most disturbing discovery came at the 7,200-foot mark. That's when the probe's camera captured something that made the entire team go silent. It was a reflection, but not of the probe itself. The camera showed what looked like the night sky, complete with stars and a moon. But the team was lowering this camera during the middle of the day. How could there be stars? How could there be night when it was 2 p.m. in Washington? One scientist on the team reportedly said, "We're not looking down anymore. We're looking sideways." The radio signals that changed everything. David's documents revealed something that Mel Waters had mentioned, but was never fully explained: the strange radio signals. When the military set up their command post near the hole, their communications equipment started picking up transmissions. Not just any transmissions, but broadcasts that seemed to be coming from inside the hole itself. At first, they thought it was interference or echoes bouncing back from the pit's walls. But then they heard voices. Clear, distinct human voices speaking in English. The problem? These voices were broadcasting messages from the future. According to the transcripts David provided, on March 3, 1997, at 11:47 p.m., a radio operator picked up a news broadcast. It was reporting on the September 11th attacks, 4 years before they happened. The broadcast mentioned the Twin Towers, the Pentagon, United Airlines Flight 175. Every detail that would later become tragically real. The team was ordered to record everything. They compiled hundreds of hours of these future broadcasts, sporting events that hadn't been played yet, weather reports for dates years away, even stock market closings from 2003, 2008, 2015. But then the broadcasts changed. They started hearing their own voices coming through the radio, messages they hadn't sent yet, conversations they would have in the coming days and weeks. The hole wasn't just showing them the future, it was showing them their own future. That's when the government made the decision to shut everything down. Chapter 2. The Sealed Files Project Chronos. The official name for the military operation at Mel's Hole was never recorded in any public document. But David's leaked papers revealed its classified designation, Project Chronos. The name itself is revealing. Chronos, the Greek personification of time. The government knew from the very beginning that Mel's Hole wasn't just a geological oddity, it was a temporal anomaly, a crack in the fabric of time itself.
Project Chronos had three primary objectives. 1. Determine if the hole could be weaponized. Could it be used to send information or materials back in time to change historical outcomes? The military's interest wasn't scientific, it was tactical. 2. Contain any potential contamination. The documents reference something called temporal contamination, suggesting that the government feared that objects or information passing through the hole could create paradoxes or alternate timelines. 3, and this is perhaps the most chilling, recover any biological entities that had emerged from the hole. Biological entities. The government knew about the seal creature Mel described, and according to David, it wasn't the only one.
The things that came out.
Deep in the classified reports, David found incident logs that documented retrieval operations. Between March and August of 1997, the military team pulled 7 distinct biological specimens from the hole. These weren't animals that had fallen in, these were creatures that had climbed out. The first one was recovered on March 15, 1997. It was described as amphibious, approximately 40 pounds, possessing both mammalian and reptilian characteristics. It had human-like eyes, just like the seal creature the Basque people had found. But this one was still alive when they captured it. The creature was taken to an undisclosed facility for study. Within 72 hours, it had died. But before it died, it did something that terrified the research team. It spoke, not in any known language, but in what sounded like backwards English. When they played the recordings in reverse, the words became clear. Don't go deeper. Don't let them see you. Who were they? The documents don't say. But the warnings didn't stop the military from continuing their descent into the hole. The subsequent creatures were larger, stranger, and more aggressive. One report described an entity resembling a canine predator with translucent skin and no visible digestive system. Another mentioned a human-shaped figure composed entirely of what appeared to be crystallized ice, despite ambient temperature of 78 degrees Fahrenheit. By the time they pulled the 7th creature, the team had been ordered to cease all retrieval operations. Whatever was down there, the government decided it was better to seal it in than to keep pulling it out. Chapter 3, Mel's final message, the last time anyone heard from Mel Waters. Remember when Mel Waters disappeared in 2002 after his final appearance on Coast to Coast AM?
All right. When did you discover this hole?
Well, the hole has always been there. We've been out there for a couple of years now, and the hole has been there since we've been there.
For years, people assumed he had either gone into hiding or met with some tragic fate. But David's documents revealed something that changes everything. Mel Waters tried to come back one more time. In 2008, 6 years after he vanished, Art Bell's production team received a package. It had no return address, but the postmark was from Perth, Australia, where Mel had claimed to be living during his exile. Inside was a cassette tape and a handwritten note. The note was simple. This is my last transmission. I'm going back to the hole. If you're hearing this, I didn't make it. Tell the world what I found. Art Bell never played this tape on his show. According to sources close to the program, lawyers advised against it, citing potential legal issues and safety concerns. The tape was locked away and very few people knew it even existed, but David had heard it. During his time working on Project Chronos, he had access to a vast archive of materials related to Mel's Hole, and somehow a copy of this final tape had made its way into the government's files. What was on the tape? David described the contents in chilling detail. Mel's voice, older and more strained than in his previous appearances, spoke for nearly 30 minutes. He talked about his time in Australia, his constant surveillance by unknown agencies, and his growing obsession with returning to the hole. But the most important part of the recording came in the final 10 minutes. Mel claimed he had been in contact with other people around the world who had found similar holes. Not just the one in Nevada that the Basque people showed him, but others. One in Russia, another in Brazil, a third in Iceland. All of them had the same properties. All of them were bottomless, and all of them seemed to be connected. Mel believed these holes were part of a network, a system of tunnels or portals that stretched beneath the Earth's surface, linking distant locations across space and possibly even time. He called it the grid. In the tape, Mel revealed that he'd been collecting testimonies from people who'd experienced strange phenomena near these other holes, radios picking up impossible broadcasts, animals behaving erratically, objects disappearing and reappearing. All the same patterns he had witnessed in Washington. Then, in the final moments of the recording, Mel made a prediction. He said that by the year 2025, more of these holes
would be discovered. And when that happened, the government wouldn't be able to keep them secret anymore. The grid is waking up, Mel said, and when it fully activates, everything we know about reality is going to change. Chapter 4, The New Discoveries, 2025. The year Mel was right. Mel's prediction came true. In early 2025, a group of hikers in Iceland stumbled upon a massive pit that matched the exact description of Mel's hole. It was roughly 9 feet in diameter, surrounded by stones, and appeared to have no bottom. The Icelandic government immediately cordoned off the area, but not before locals had begun their own investigations. They lowered cameras, dropped weighted lines, and recorded the same impossible results. No bottom, no water. And yes, strange radio signals. But Iceland wasn't the only place. In March 2025, a similar hole was found in the Amazon rainforest in Brazil, then another in Siberia. By June, 7 new bottomless pits had been confirmed across the globe. The media tried to cover the story, but information was heavily restricted. Governments worldwide seemed to be coordinating their response, implementing identical protocols, secure the perimeter, restrict public access, deploy scientific teams, and most importantly, keep quiet. But you can't keep something this big quiet forever. Satellite images leaked online, witness testimonies spread across social media, and researchers who had been studying these phenomena independently began to connect the dots. Mel's grid was real. The pattern no one saw coming. When researchers plotted the locations of all the known holes on a map, something extraordinary emerged. They weren't randomly distributed. They formed a geometric pattern, a perfect grid of interconnected points spanning the entire planet. The distances between them followed a mathematical sequence related to Earth's magnetic field lines. Scientists who studied the data noted that these locations corresponded with areas of unusual geomagnetic activity, places where compasses spin wildly, and electronic equipment malfunctions. But here's where it gets even stranger. Some of these locations were already famous for paranormal activity long before the holes were discovered. The Bermuda Triangle, the Devil's Sea near Japan, areas in the Great Lakes known for mysterious disappearances. Were the holes causing these anomalies? Or had they always been there, hidden beneath the surface, influencing our world in ways we never understood? What scientists are saying now? A small group of physicists and geologists, risking their careers and reputations, have come forward with a theory. They believe Mel's hole and the other pits like it are not natural formations. Instead, they could be remnants of an ancient technology, possibly built by a civilization that existed long before recorded history. These scientists point to the precision of the grid's geometry, the impossible physics observed within the holes, and the temporal anomalies as evidence that these structures were engineered, not formed by natural processes. Some have even suggested that the holes are part of a planetary defense system designed to regulate something deep within the Earth's core. Others believe they're portals to other dimensions, left behind by beings who once visited our planet. The government, of course, denies everything. Official statements claim the holes are merely deep caves or abandoned mining shafts, nothing more than geological curiosities. But those who have seen the evidence know better. Chapter 5. What happened to Mel? The search that never ended. After Mel's final tape surfaced, a dedicated group of researchers and paranormal investigators launched an unofficial search for him. They traced his movements through Australia, interviewing people who claimed to have met him, following leads that went cold almost as soon as they appeared. In 2010, a man matching Mel's description was reportedly seen in the outback, living off the grid in a remote community. Witnesses said he was obsessed with maps, constantly drawing diagrams of tunnels and coordinates. But by the time investigators arrived, he was gone. Then in 2016, something strange happened. A hiker in eastern Washington, exploring the area where Mel's property once stood, found a backpack buried beneath a pile of rocks. Inside were notebooks filled with calculations, sketches of the hole, and most disturbingly, photographs. The photographs showed Mel, visibly older, standing at the edge of a pit. But it wasn't the Washington hole. The landscape was different, tropical, with dense vegetation surrounding the area. On the back of one photo, written in Mel's handwriting, were 3 words: "I found it." Did Mel go back? David's leaked documents included one final piece of information. In late 2008, shortly after Mel's tape was sent to Art Bell, motion sensors around the sealed Washington site were triggered. Someone had breached the perimeter. When security teams arrived, they found evidence of digging near the location where the hole had been. The concrete seal that the military had poured over the pit showed signs of attempted removal. Tools were left behind, along with a torn piece of fabric that DNA analysis later confirmed belonged to Mel Waters. But Mel himself was nowhere to be found. Neither was the hole. According to the report, when they excavated the area to assess the damage, the hole was gone. Not filled in, not collapsed, simply gone, as if it had never been there at all. Some believe Mel succeeded in reopening the hole and descended into it one final time, seeking answers to the questions that had consumed his life. Others think he was taken by the same forces that had monitored him for over a decade. But there's a third possibility, one that sends chills through anyone who has followed this story. What if Mel didn't go down into the hole? What if he went through it, traveling along the grid to one of the other pits scattered across the world? The photo found in 2016, showing Mel at a tropical location, suggests he might have succeeded. If the holes really are connected, if they form a network of portals, then Mel could have used them to reach places the government could never track him to. The message Mel left behind. Among the notebooks found in that backpack was a final entry, dated September 2008. Mel's handwriting was shaky, rushed, as if he were writing against time. The message was cryptic but clear. To whoever finds this, I've spent 11 years running from the truth and 11 more searching for it. The hole wasn't trying to hide its secrets. We were too afraid to understand them. The grid is not a weapon, it's a warning. Something is coming, something that's been asleep for thousands of years. The holes are opening because it's waking up. Don't try to seal them. Don't try to study them. Just listen. They're trying to tell us something. I'm going to find out what. If I don't come back, keep searching. The truth is down there, waiting. That was the last anyone heard from Mel Waters. Conclusion: the mystery deepens. Today, Mel's hole remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of our time. The original pit in Washington has never been found again, despite countless attempts by researchers, paranormal investigators, and curiosity seekers. The government maintains its silence, refusing to acknowledge that Project Chronos ever existed. But the evidence keeps piling up. More holes are being discovered. More testimonies are emerging from people who have experienced the same strange phenomena Mel described. And now, with David's leaked documents circulating on the internet, the truth is becoming harder to suppress. Some believe Mel is still out there, traveling through the grid, exploring a hidden world beneath our feet. Others think he sacrificed himself to warn us about a danger we don't yet understand. And a few believe he found something down in that endless darkness, something so profound that it changed him forever. One thing is certain, Mel's story is far from over. The holes are still there, waiting in the hills and forests and deserts of our world. The grid is still active, still pulsing with energy we can't explain. And somewhere deep in the earth, the truth is calling out to us. Will we have the courage to answer? Or will we, like so many before us, turn away from the darkness and pretend it's not there? The choice is yours. But remember what Mel said in his final message. They're trying to tell us something. The holes aren't just geological anomalies, they're warnings. Messages from a time or a place we've yet to understand. And if Mel was right, if something truly is waking up beneath our feet, then ignoring these warnings could be the biggest mistake humanity has ever made. So what do you think? Is Mel's hole a doorway to another dimension? A portal through time? Or something far stranger than we could ever imagine? Share your theories in the comments below. And if you've ever experienced anything strange near a mysterious pit or unexplained geological formation, tell us your story. Because if Mel taught us anything, it's that the truth is out there, waiting to be uncovered. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Because this mystery is far from over. And when new evidence emerges, you'll want to be the first to know. Until next time, keep searching, keep questioning, and whatever you do, don't look away from the darkness, because that's exactly where the answers are hiding.